And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win? Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Pages of Sun, who asked the question, who wins in a fight, Jason Voorhees versus the 70's Lou Ferrigno version of The Incredible Hulk? Jason, we've done on this channel, God knows, he's got to be on the Mount Rushmore, at least the horror icons I've put onto the channel before. Him, Pennywise, Freddy, and Slender Man. Those would be like the four huge ones I've done so many times I can do it. Michael Myers, even more than Slender Man. Pinhead and Slender Man have shown up a couple times, a decent amount of times, but those four would be the Michael, Jason, Freddy, and Pennywise would be the elder statesmen here. But the Lou Ferrigno Hulk, the 70's Hulk, is interesting. For example, if you've never watched the show, he's not Bruce Banner, he's David Banner. And this is a very, very limited version of the Hulk. Hell, in Death of the Incredible Hulk, the Hulk died by falling out of a plane and cratering into the ground. That goes to show you how weak this version of the Hulk is in comparison to any other version of the Hulk. Hell, he runs away from being shot by a hunting rifle. He's still strong enough to survive bullets, but he actually gets hurt by them. Whereas even a base Hulk, it doesn't even phase him. He might be annoyed by them, but he doesn't. He's not going to be threatened by them. He's still durable enough to take a decent amount of damage. He's strong enough to lift grown men, burst through walls, but that's maybe lift trucks. But that's about it. He's also relatively slow. This is not the kind of Hulk who can jump mountains at a time. This is a pretty slow-moving Hulk. And he's all pretty much rage and whatnot. So, putting out this version of he is still superhuman. He is still super-powered. He would still be a threat to anyone physically, even a physically powerful person like Jason. He still would be a threat. So the question just becomes, how far do we get in the history of Jason Voorhees before the Hulk just kills him? Before Jason just kills him. And that will give us essentially the answer we need to that will give us the answer to who really wins the percentage category. Because there's multiple versions of Jason Voorhees. So actually, why don't we work backwards on this? Because we know we can guaranteed say that Uber Jason, Cyborg Jason, would make mincemeat of this Hulk. That's a Jason who can tear through sheet metal who can tear through the metal of a spaceship hull without too much difficulty, survive re-entry into a planet's atmosphere, and on contact too. And survive, when I say on contact, I mean the impact. Literally huck giant trees like they're rockets. So it's one of those things where this Hulk could not even scratch that Jason. Okay, but let's backtrack again. We also then had the reboot Jason that came out years ago. Okay, so that Jason is faster. I would argue, though, he's not as physically strong as the Lou Ferrigno Hulk. Not to say that he isn't still physically strong. He is. But if you're looking through a guy who can literally punch through large walls and he maybe even lift cars, that Jason isn't that strong. Now, he does have his machete. He's fast and quick. He also has a hatchet. I believe he wields a crossbow. He has a basic set of survival weapons. That would certainly piss off the Hulk and could hurt him. I don't know, though, if that will straight out kill him. Especially because the Hulk probably blocks him. And, he's got a cut on him. Eventually he grabs and starts beating that Jason to hell. I mean, Jason's still strong enough to maybe fight him off a bit, but I think the Lou Ferrigno Hulk would beat that Hulk. Beat that Jason. So that Jason loses. Then you get Freddy versus Jason. A zombie Jason who, in essence, just can't die. At least not with anything that this Hulk has up his sleeve. Our classic Hulk, our actual comic Hulk, could literally thunderclap him and just squish him dead. This Hulk, though, I don't even know if this Hulk is even strong enough to compare to this Jason, to be honest. This Jason has a lot of good strength feats. But this Jason's even slower than the Hulk. Except when it comes to, those close combat scenarios. Like he's quick when he moves his arms, but he's not quick when he like is moving. Like even like the Lou Ferrigno Hulk can still kind of run a bit, whereas Jason normally doesn't. Again, he's normally just wielding a machete. If he disarms Jason, I will lean more towards the Lou Ferrigno Hulk. He just has frankly more strength feats in his favor. Um but um I don't know. I'd probably still lean towards Jason because this Hulk doesn't have a method to actually kill him. So I'd lean towards Jason on that. The same goes for Jason's Dead. Jason X Jason, not Jason X. Jason Goes to Hell Jason. The same will go for that Jason due to the fact that I'm sorry, is this the Hulk hand or the Jason? I think this is the Jason hand. No, this is the Jason hand. This is the Hulk hand. Just due to the fact that the only way to kill him within that continuity is to use the blood of a Voorhees and a special dagger. Again, take any magic or just straight scaling out of the equation. And again, the Lou Ferrigno Hulk is powerful, yes, but we actually saw that Jason pull off some pretty mean strength feats, including like just tossing like a jungle gym kind of like a big metal jungle gym without any real issue. So I'd still lean towards Jason on that. Not to mention that even if you did blow that Jason up or tear him apart, his soul could theoretically possess the Hulk, or he could make the Hulk possess him, or he could make him possess the Hulk by making the Hulk consume him. Because the Hulk is just blind rage, so he might not have the wherewithal to not do it. But once you get past that, once you get into the remaining 80s living human Jason, that's when the Hulk starts to get more favor in terms of how many fights he can win. Because even though that Jason still has really good strength feats for a guy of his build, he now is much more on par with the Hulk. And so I'd argue now more in favor of the Hulk, especially because the Hulk is a lot more raging and a lot more physical than Jason actually is. What I mean by that is the Hulk generally just goes straight in for physical hand to hand, and he is angry. He's powered by rage, whereas Jason certainly is powered by rage on some level, but he's more slow and methodical, especially if you're not going down to human Jason. If you go down to human Jason before he actually got any sort of supernatural elements into him, Hulk gets that fight guaranteed. And then that leaves us with 80s Jason, again, more zombie version of Jason. I would say this is very likely going to the Hulk. So unfortunately, that is kind of a 50-50 split. So who do I think ultimately carries the overall wins? Well, I am going to lean more towards Jason. And this is just due to the fact that he does have weaponry that would hurt the Hulk, because this Hulk can be hurt by just a gunshot alone. So I would lean towards Jason in this. That's not to say Lou Ferrigno Hulk can't get some wins in. He definitely can, especially on the lower scale of Jason, the earlier tiers of Jason. But because Jason just uses weapons, that he could, in theory, get a kill shot in on the Hulk. The Hulk can survive a decent amount, even this version, but not like a blade through the head or a gunshot wound to the brain or anything like that. So ultimately, I'll go Jason, but let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.